The galaxy had always considered Earth a curiosity, not a threat. A blue-green world tucked away on the edge of an unremarkable spiral arm, orbiting a modest yellow star. To the Galactic Council, humanity was a minor species. Technologically, developing, politically divided, culturally loud, and militarily insignificant. For centuries, humanity's signals had echoed across the stars. Music, laughter, speeches, wars, all broadcast unintentionally, spilling into the void like careless whispers overheard by distant civilizations. Aliens listened, some amused, others dismissive. To them, humanity was a species defined by chaos and emotion. But what they never understood was that chaos can be sharpened into something lethal. It began on the eve of the Council's Grand Summit, a gathering that occurred once every millennium, where empires measured power, renewed treaties, and reminded lesser civilizations of their place. Representatives of thousands of species gathered in the glittering spire of Concord, orbiting the galactic core. Among them, for the first time in recorded history, stood the humans. Their delegation was small, no more than a dozen men and women, dressed in tailored black uniforms, bearing no insignias of rank or world. Their eyes, however, betrayed something alien to the other species present. They carried a weight, an intensity, as though every word spoken in the chamber was being measured against a deeper, hidden truth. The humans introduced themselves politely, bowed where custom demanded, and spoke with humility. Many dismissed them. Some smirked openly at their presence. But others felt a strange unease. The Arcal diplomat, a predator-born species with senses honed over millennia, leaned toward his aide and whispered, "They do not smell like prey." For weeks leading up to the summit, the great powers had flexed their might in elaborate demonstrations. Armadas had paraded past the spire, shimmering hulls glistening under the glow of distant stars. Titans of war, dreadnoughts kilometers long, were showcased with weapons capable of vaporizing continents. Every empire wanted to remind the Council of who held dominance. Every empire, except the humans. When it was their turn, they presented nothing. No fleets, no weapons, not even holographic projections. Just silence. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The Vayari High Lord declared it proof that Earth was as primitive as rumored. The Cathari swore humanity's place would forever be under the boot of greater civilizations. Even the Council itself recorded a formal note. Humanity poses no significant military strength. But in the silence that followed, the human envoy, a woman with steel-gray eyes named Admiral Celine Ward, smiled faintly. Her words were calm, almost soft. The mistake is thinking we have nothing to show. Then she said nothing more. It was only later, when the galaxy's most powerful fleet attempted to prove humanity's weakness, that the truth began to surface. The Vayari, insulted by humanity's confidence, launched what they called a demonstration strike. A flotilla of 50 warships entered Sol, humanity's home system, broadcasting the attack openly. Their intent was not extermination, but humiliation. They wanted to shatter humanity's pride in full view of the galaxy. What happened next was witnessed by billions. The feed began with the Vayari fleet slipping past Neptune, shields glittering as they advanced. Commentators mocked Earth's defenses, predicting surrender within minutes. Yet as the fleet reached the orbit of Mars, something happened. The void itself shifted. From the darkness, colossal shapes emerged, shadows at first, then steel and fire. They dwarfed the Vayari ships, each vessel bristling with unfamiliar weaponry. Their hulls bore no symbols, no names, only the matte black silence of predators that had hidden for too long. The first salvo tore through the Vayari fleet in less than 8 seconds. No one had ever seen weapons like these, beams that bent space, munitions that ignored shields, kinetic strikes so precise they severed capital ships clean in half. The Veyari screamed, then fell silent, one by one. The transmission cut out, across the galaxy. Every screen, every hollow feed, every listening post replayed those 8 seconds again and again. Empires that had mocked humanity watched in horrified silence. Admirals who believed they understood warfare felt their blood run cold. Because those ships, those black leviathans, hadn't just appeared. They had been waiting. Hidden, patient, watching. And when humanity chose to strike, they did. So with a precision that spoke not of a new weapon, but of a power forged long ago, concealed until the galaxy forced their hand. At the spire, no one laughed anymore. The council chamber, once filled with voices, now sat in a silence so deep it felt suffocating. The humans remained at their table, unflinching, as if they had expected this moment all along. Admiral Ward simply folded her hands, her voice carrying across the chamber like a blade drawn in the dark. We never wanted war, but you will never mistake restraint for weakness again. The galaxy, an entire civilization of countless species, empires, and powers, had no words. Only fear. Fear, because in that single moment, humanity had unveiled their true military power. And the galaxy realized they had been blind all along. The galaxy had survived countless wars, empires rising and falling in tides of blood and steel. But never before had silence felt so heavy. After the destruction of the Veyari fleet, no empire dared to move. Even the loudest warlords, whose tongues, once dripped with arrogance, found themselves speechless. The recordings of those 8 seconds replayed endlessly. Every flicker of fire, every impossible strike, every scream cut short. 50 ships reduced to debris, and not a single human. Vessel lost. The spire of Concord, once alive with debate, had become a cathedral of unease. Delegates whispered in private, translators faltered under the weight of too many questions, and intelligence networks scrambled desperately for answers. Who were these humans? What weapons had they built in secret? And why, above all, had they chosen to hide them? Admiral Celine Ward gave no answers. She and her fellow humans carried themselves with disquieting composure. They walked the halls as though surrounded by invisible guards, never hurried, never shaken. When other species attempted to probe them, to demand explanations, the humans replied only with measured words. We desired peace, but we prepared for war. It was not enough. The Cathari Dominion, proud and ruthless, could not accept what they had witnessed. Their fleets stretched across 500,000 systems, their warforges burned with the fire of conquest. To them, the idea that humanity, an insignificant species barely centuries into spaceflight, could outmatch them was unthinkable. So they tested the silence. They launched probes into Sol. Each one vanished. They sent scouts cloaked in stealth fields across human trade routes. None returned. Finally, they dispatched a strike force of 30 ships to intercept a human convoy leaving the Procyon Gate. The council watched in secret, pretending neutrality, but their eyes remained fixed on the outcome. The convoy appeared. Small, civilian carriers, transport vessels, lightly armed escorts. The Cathari ships closed in, weapons primed. And then the void trembled. Not with beams or missiles, not with fire and thunder, but with the sudden warping of space itself. Shadows unfolded like wings. Human warships erupted from the black, larger than the Cathari's dreadnoughts, their angles wrong for comfort, as though designed not to exist, but to haunt. The battle was shorter than the last. 17 seconds. When it was over. The convoy sailed untouched, drifting past fields of molten wreckage. No human vessel had even activated shields. They had not needed to dot the Cathari Dominion. The war machine of centuries had been broken in less than half a minute dot across the galaxy. Panic spread like fire. Dot the Tavari Republic closed its borders. The Drask clans recalled their fleets from expansion wars. Even the Arkal predators, whose people feared nothing, halted their raiding. Empires that had once stood defiant now questioned whether their armies were worth more than kindling against this hidden human force. Dot. But the most terrifying revelation had not yet arrived. Dot. In the aftermath of the battle, fragments of destroyed Cathari ships were recovered. Intelligence analysts expected to find traces of exotic weaponry, the kind that might explain humanity's impossible victories. What they discovered instead was worse. Dot. Human weapons were simple. Dot. The beams were accelerators, kinetic strikes guided with absurd precision. The munitions were enhanced, yes, but not beyond understanding. The real weapon wasn't the technology. Dot. It was the discipline, the coordination, the ruthless perfection. Dot. Every human ship had fired as if commanded by a single mind. Every strike was timed to the fraction of a heartbeat. Every maneuver predicted the enemy's moves before they made them. Dot. This wasn't war as the galaxy knew it. This was slaughter refined into an art. Dot. The realization struck harder than the battles themselves. Humanity had not unveiled an ultimate weapon. They had unveiled themselves. Dot. The galaxy had mistaken passion for weakness, individuality for disunity, emotion for fragility. But behind those eyes, behind the chaos of their history, humanity had forged something else. A doctrine of war so absolute, so merciless, that no empire had ever conceived of it. Dot. And now they had shown just a glimpse. Dot. At the council, voices trembled as they debated. Should humanity be confronted, contained, appeased? Yet even as they argued, every delegate knew the truth. Dot. If the humans had hidden this power for so long, it meant they were not revealing everything. Dot. The Veyari had been destroyed in 8 seconds. The Cathari in 17. Dot. What would happen if humanity chose to wage a true war? In the quiet of her chambers, Admiral Ward looked out over the galaxy map, her reflection mirrored in the stars. She knew what the Council did not. Humanity had not sought domination. They had sought survival. Dot. Because somewhere in the darkness, beyond even the galaxy's borders, something else stirred. Dot. And humanity had been preparing for that enemy long. Before the Council had ever noticed them. Dot. For now, the galaxy trembled in fear of humanity's unveiled power. Dot. But soon, they would tremble for another reason entirely. The galaxy had never been so quiet. Empires that once roared with conquest now whispered. Warlords who commanded fleets with arrogance now hesitated to breathe. Humanity had broken the illusion of dominance, and with every silent star, with every shadow in the void, the galaxy remembered. 8 seconds for the Veyari, 17 for the Cathari. But the question remained, whispered in the spire's halls, etched into every nervous glance. Why? Why had humanity hidden such power? Why had they lived for centuries under the mask of weakness? Why reveal themselves now? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. It began as distortions at the galactic rim. Deep space relays detecting gravity anomalies, bursts of energy that defied known physics. At first, the Council dismissed them. Perhaps black holes colliding, perhaps natural cosmic storms. But the anomalies spread. Systems went dark. Colonies stopped transmitting. Fleets sent to investigate never returned. Until finally, one returned. A Tavari cruiser, limping and shattered, drifted into the spire's orbit. Its hull bore claw marks, not weapons fire, but wounds gouged as though by something alive. The crew's eyes were hollow, their voices trembling as they spoke a single name they could not explain: the Devourers. No records existed of such beings. No archives mentioned them. Yet the terror in the Tavari's voice was unmistakable. They spoke of vast, living constructs that consumed everything: metal, matter, even energy itself. Armies fired upon them, but the shots only made them grow stronger. Planets vanished, stripped to barren husks. The council erupted in panic. Every empire scrambled to prepare, but none knew how. Their fleets, vast and glittering, had never faced an enemy that did not bargain, did not threaten, did not reason. Against the Devourers, they were children throwing stones into a hurricane. It was then that the humans spoke. Admiral Celine Ward stood before the council, her voice carrying through the chamber like a calm tide against a storm. "You misunderstand. Us, we did not build our strength for you. We built it for them." Gasps rippled through the delegates. She continued, unflinching. "While you squabbled over borders, while you played at war, we listened. We saw the signs at the galaxy's edge centuries ago, the first whispers of the Devourers. We knew they would come, and so we prepared, not for conquest, but for survival." The truth fell like thunder. The black leviathans, the precision, the ruthless unity, it was not arrogance. It was desperation turned into mastery. For generations, humanity had trained not in public, but in silence. Entire fleets had been built in hidden docks. Entire generations of soldiers had been raised with one purpose: to face the thing that now crept into the galaxy's heart. The council demanded proof. Ward gave it. With a wave of her hand, she activated a projection. The chamber gasped as thousands of human warships lit up across the map, emerging from the shadows. Fleets hidden beneath nebulae, stationed in asteroid belts, concealed within artificial singularities. Humanity had not dozens of ships. They had legions. And they were moving. For the first time in galactic history, humans revealed their true mobilization. Convoys stretched across light years, black fleets folding space as they advanced toward the rim. Not to conquer, but to intercept. The galaxy, stunned into silence, watched as a single species did what no empire had ever done: stand ready to fight for all. The Devourers came in waves. Living constructs larger than moons, writhing with tendrils, that pierced planets, drawing life and energy into their cores. Their shrieks reverberated across subspace, a chorus of hunger. Entire systems fell within hours. The Tavari, Drask, Kothari, even the broken Vayari, all turned to humanity, not out of respect, but out of sheer necessity. Alone, none could survive. And so, for the first time, the galaxy bent. Not to the council, not to tradition, but to Earth. The humans led. The first great battle took place at the rim world of Kylthar. Hundreds of alien fleets assembled in panic, but their formations crumbled at the Devourer's approach. It was humanity's Black Armada that held the line. The galaxy watched as human dreadnoughts descended like executioners. Their weapons, once terrifying, now revealed their true design. Blades of compressed matter tore through Devourer shells. Beams bent space to slice living flesh. Entire swarms collapsed under coordinated barrages that moved with the precision of a single hand. Where aliens faltered, humans steadied them. Where chaos spread, humans imposed order. Every commander realized it then. Humanity had spent centuries studying not just how to fight, but how to fight together. The battle raged for days, and for the first time, the Devourers faltered. Not destroyed, never destroyed, but halted. Pushed back. And in that moment, the galaxy finally understood. Humanity had never been weak. They had never been naive. They had been waiting. Waiting for the enemy that was older than empires, hungrier than warlords, more merciless than greed itself. The enemy that had ended galaxies before and would end this one too, unless stopped at the spire, the council trembled. Fear still lingered, but it was no longer fear of humans. It was fear of what lay beyond . And as Admiral Ward's fleets returned bloodied but unbroken, she spoke once more. We are not your conquerors. We are your shield. But know this, when the Devourers come again, there will be no time for hesitation. You will stand with us, or you will fall alone. The galaxy fell silent, not in mockery, not in disbelief, but in the heavy, reverent silence of those who finally understood humanity had unveiled their true military power, not to dominate, but to protect . And in that revelation, the galaxy knew two things with absolute certainty. The Devourers were coming, and humanity would meet them in the dark.